Hi everybody, in this video we're going to talk about solving quadratics using factoring, and at the end of the video I want us to be able to solve quadratic equations using factoring and write the solutions as a point. Okay, so when they ask us to solve a quadratic equation, really they're just asking us to find the x-intercepts. So here's an example of a quadratic equation. On a graph, what are we looking for? We are looking for, hey, where does the blue parabola cross the x-axis, right? We're looking for our x-intercepts here and here. Well, algebraically, what's happening, and guys, this is really cool, the quadratic equation can be written as y is equal to x squared minus x minus 2. So here's that part here. And we can rewrite the x-axis as y is equal to 0. The height is equal to 0 of that line. So algebraically, we are really looking for, hey, where do those two things cross? And so when we're solving quadratics, every single time when we use factoring, we need to set the equation equal to 0 because we're looking for, hey, where does the blue parabola cross the y is equal to 0 line or the x-axis? I think that's really cool. Okay, so when we're solving, there are 3 different methods. Again, we're going to talk about factoring, and we always want to see if we can factor first. A good indication we can use factoring is that it is in standard form. We have the x squared, the x, and then the number. Remember, when we're factoring, we have all those good things. We can always start with our greatest common factor. Then we can try our rainbow t-chart using grouping, or we can use the difference of squares formula when you have 2 perfect squares. If you cannot factor and you can't find any numbers on your t-chart, then we can use the square roots or quadratic formula method, which we will talk about in another video. Today, we're just focusing on factoring. Okay, so when we are factoring, here are the steps. Step number 1, like I said before, we need to make sure that our equation is set equal to 0. That is always step number 1. Step number 2 is we are going to factor the x squared minus x minus 6. This one has 3 terms, so I'm going to use my rainbow method. I'm factoring that into x minus 3 times x plus 2. Then I'm going to set each parenthesis equal to 0 because in order for this right side to equal 0, either the blue parenthesis needs to equal 0 or the red parenthesis needs to equal 0 because anything times 0 would give me 0. So we have 2 options, so we're going to test both of those options. So x minus 3 is set equal to 0, x plus 2 is equal to 0, and then we're just solving each of those equations separately. This one we add 3 and get x is equal to 3. This we subtract 2 and we get x is equal to 2, and that is done if they ask us to solve. We go one more step if they ask us to find the roots or the zeros, and we can write it as a point. X means our x value is equal to 3, and then remember we're crossing the x-axis where our y value is always 0, so you can just write it as a point 3, 0 or negative 2, 0. I will let you know when I want either form. That is an overview. In the next video, I will go through and work through an example, so head over to the next video, and I will see y'all in a little bit.